After completing this lesson, you'll be able to use sketch tools in Fusion 360, add sketch constraints to control sketch geometry, and apply parametric dimensions to control the size of sketch features. Before beginning a sketch, we need to think about what the sketch is going to be doing. In this case, we're going to be creating a sketch that will define the main part of the body of the F1 car. That body is going to be a component in the assembly, so before beginning the sketch, we should create a new component. We'll go to the Assemble tab and select New Component and give the new component a name, Car Body. After clicking OK, this will activate this component. So any sketch that we create will be associated with the car body component, not the overall design. So let's begin the sketch. We'll start out with a line and select the XZ plane. I'm going to rotate the view cube to make sure that the length of the body is running along the Z-axis. We'll start the line at the center point of the sketch and just drag it out a distance. We can continue to draw other entities, but for right now, I want to restart the sketch tool. Come back a distance, select the first line to create a new line segment, and move down. Come over and just start roughing in the shape, maybe even creating the geometry for the wheel well. We'll close this up, and now we have a profile. Once we have a profile, it will be shaded. This is Fusion 360's way of letting us know that we have a profile that's viable for 3D geometry. I'll come back to the corner, click and drag, and be able to generate a tangent arc. Releasing the arc, I can finish with a line and close the profile. Now I need to do some cleanup of the geometry before I think about refining the sketch with dimensions. Before I do that, I need to add one more piece of geometry. To give a little better shape to the nose, I'm going to add an ellipse to the sketch, selecting the first point and then the two axis points. Then I can trim that. The other thing I want to do is to open up the wheel well and to ignore this profile that's been created in the front. If I leave the trim tool, I can see that there are presently 3 profiles that can be used for 3D geometry. By selecting 2 of the lines, for the wheel well and for the front, and selecting the construction toggle in the tool palette, I open it up to just having 1 profile. Now let's refine the sketch before adding dimensions. We'll use horizontal vertical to make sure that this line is held horizontal. We see there's perpendicularity in place. There's a horizontal constraint here. That's good. We can use perpendicular, horizontal, or even parallel for the bottom of the wheel well to hold that in place. And then let's make sure that we have perpendicular or horizontal vertical on that back line. Now we can begin adding dimensions to the sketch. I'll start the Sketch Dimension tool from the Marking menu. The first dimension I'll place is the overall length. Set the value at 200, and then we can start adding the other values, such as 20 for the back, 31 for the half width of the vehicle. We'll set the width of the wheel well at 33 millimeters, and the distance from the back to the front of the side pod at 125. Now we can define the overall width of the front at 13, and then the length of this elliptical section at 26. As we start applying dimensions, you'll see sketch geometry turn from blue to black. That's an indication that that geometry is fully constrained. We don't necessarily have to have everything fully constrained in order to make 3D. We just need to have enough control to where we can make modifications as needed. I'll start the Dimension tool again by pressing D and start finishing off some of these sketches. I want to locate the center of the wheel well from the back, so I'll hold the Shift key to find the midpoint of that line. Place the dimension and set the value at 56. At this point, I've got all the sketch dimensions that I want at this time. So I'll press Stop Sketch, return to the home view, and just maybe for clarity, turn off the layout grid. I also don't necessarily want to always snap to the grid, so I'll turn that off, but that of course is up to you. Now, let's go ahead and save the car. We'll save it to our project. And after a moment, we'll see in the tab that it goes from V0 to V1 as the cloud-based data management updates this version of the file.